What's going on guys, Reisshub back with another video. This time I'm going to be covering how to box like fish. Currently there's only one source of high quality information on how to do this advanced level of piece control, and that is Mohammed SR4's Twitter page. Despite the fact that you can learn everything you need to know from Mohammed's Twitter, I'm going to make this video to go over a few tips that are really useful to put into your gameplay. So the commonality that all of these examples share is that you're trying to place a build piece ahead of where the opponent is going so that you can edit through and then box your opponents up. So this first example is all about placing high walls. What I mean by this is simply placing a wall one tile above your box. The first method I'm going to talk about here is the most common way this is used, and that's simply while you're doing a 180, you can place a wall right on top of it. This gives you a bunch of offensive options that you can do against your opponents if they're at the other side of the wall. The first is a really common move you'll see where you edit through a wall, place a ramp, and box your opponents this way with walls and floors all the way around. This gives you full control over the opponent in this box. Every single edit is yours. You can simply edit out, re-edit a window, and then take a shot on them. So the second option, the way I like to do, is to simply edit a window, and through here you can cone the box. If the opponent is on a ramp, you'll catch them within this cone and they cannot continue to go up. You then jump around the right hand side and take a shot as you're jumping. You can place a wall here, a floor under you, and then edit through and box them up that way. Ensure that you open a full wall while you're editing through here, because if you don't, the floor you're standing on will break and you'll fall down. This edit selection is the same when you're doing any high wall, because if you do a bottom left or bottom right corner, it's going to break if it's just on the high wall. This means you're not going to be able to connect your cone to it at the top, so just ensure that you're doing a 4-tiled edit here. This next method is a really good way to do side jumps. So you place your floor or your cone above the top of your ramp, you then jump out to the side as if you're going to do a normal side jump, but you do a 180-degree turn. However, this time you're going to look directly up to the sky, as this will place another wall above that first wall. You then look down to place the floor, and then you have to jump again to place a ramp underneath you. This will give you that high wall control that you can then do either the same moves we talked about before, where you can edit through and cone, or you can edit the window and then jump around to the side, just like in the 180. This next method is something you could do when someone is trying to pickaxe your roof and you're being defensive in a box. For this, you want to be standing at the back right hand side of your box when someone is attacking in front of you. You're first going to edit the 2 right hand tiles of the floor above you, then you're going to place a wall in front of you through the cone, and then quickly a ramp underneath you, and then switch back to your shotgun. Then you edit the cone, and again you can do either of the 2 options we talked about before, where you can edit through the wall in front of you and box up the opponent that way, or you can edit the window, cone above, and then jump around the side, shoot them, and then box them up this way as well. This next movement I've covered before, but it's called the Unknown Classic. And this is simply where you're going to place a cone and a floor over where you think the opponent is going to go, double edit through, and then place 2 walls and a cone inside the box here. This gives you nearly full control over the opponents, only not having 2 of the walls, and then you can get an easy shot off of them because often they don't expect you to place the walls here. This next one's definitely tricky to practice and to get down, but it's actually very viable because there's a lot of situations where this continues to happen to people, in particular me. So if a player is ramping over you, as you can see I have here, you have to first place the floor underneath the ramp and get control of this piece. You then edit through that floor, jump, and then cone the opponent's ramp. Notice how awkward this is to do from the angle. You actually have to be quite far down the ramp to be able to do it. You'd think you'd be higher up, but you actually have to be further down the ramp to place this cone on top. So you're going to jump, place the cone, and then you're going to quickly place all 3 walls around the outside and then reset the floor as well. This is probably not going to be doable on controller unless you're very, very cracked, because you don't have scroll wheel reset to reset the floor underneath you. So potentially skip this one out unless you just have some mad resetting skills. You can then edit out the box and then re-edit to get a good angle on your opponents and get an easy damage shot off on them. This next one's one of the easiest ways to cone your opponents, and it's simply while you're double ramping, you can look to either side, place a wall there, edit through that, and then cone on the other side of that. This is something I've seen Wolfies do in the endgame actually, and it was a really viable way to pick up a couple elims there. If you've edited a full wall open, you can also place a cone underneath and fully box up your opponent with walls this way, obtaining an easy kill. It is a little bit difficult to see opponents while you're ramping in this direction, so it is very situational, but it's definitely something that's worth doing. This next tip is something that's really good for players who have higher ping to do as well. While you're trying to wall replace someone, rather than just placing the wall, try and put the ramp inside of their box as well. A lot of the times this is going to scare opponents into editing outside of the box, and you can predict this and get an easy kill. Now yes, it does depend on which way they want to go, but most people will go to their right. So if you're attacking the wall, it's going to be to your left hand side. This is because they think they're going to get a right hand peek by editing out their right hand side, but you're smarter than that, so you've predicted that. So what you want to do is you want to place a wall in front of you, because this will stop any shots that they're going to take. You then want to edit a window, place 2 cones, one below, one above, and then a wall to the back and to the left hand side. You really want to practice to make sure you have this muscle memory down quickly, because if you spend too long boxing them up, they are just going to shoot you through this window. So what do you do when you've actually boxed up an opponent and you're inside his box, when you have full control? A lot of people have the muscle memory just to flip the ramp and take a 50-50, but this really isn't the play. The 2 best strategies that you can use is firstly edit out one of the sides and then edit a window through the wall so you can get a shot off on the opponent this way. This prevents you 50-50ing them and you get minimal damage taken back. A really good bit of muscle memory to do this is actually a drill that I did a while ago and posted on Reddit, which is simply to place a ramp, 2 walls, edit out, ramp, 2 walls, edit out, alternating directions. This really practices good muscle memory for editing out here. This practice drill is just the next level of that, where you're going to place a ramp and then place 3 walls all the way around it to completely box up the opponent who would be underneath this. You're then going to edit out of the wall, place a floor, you're then going to edit a window through, shoot, and then reset. And just keep repeating this over and over. This is a really good way to build up muscle memory to do this and to forget that muscle memory of just flipping the ramp. If you're in the box with a ramp only and you don't have any of the walls to the side, what you can do is edit the ramp towards you on the left hand side. This will give you a right hand peek from underneath the stairs and the opponent has really poor visibility on you here, allowing you to get easy shots off on them. Hope you guys enjoyed that video on a little bit of boxing up and a little bit of piece control. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you later. Have a good day. Peace.